Hello creative friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Anastasia, and today I'm upcycling some old decor to give it a new life. I hope this inspires you to try these out yourself. Let's get into it. This is my mother-in-law's vase that she gave to me so that I can upcycle it into something that she wants to display in her home again. So I went online to get inspired, and I found these vases that are so similar, that come in that off-white color, and I thought this is just the perfect look. Several places sell these vases. They're at Target, they're also at Walmart and Home Depot, to name a few. I'm really excited to revamp this vase for her. I'm sanding it with some coarse grit to really put some texture on that smooth surface. This will help the paint stick so much better. I'm wiping off all that sanding dust with a wet paper towel. To cover the existing color, I'm doing a base of Popular Gray by Sherwin-Williams over the entire vase. Now I'm taking a smaller brush to do a partial second coat on the areas where the color still shows through. The inspiration for this vase has a smooth finish, so you really can just go in with paint to get that look, but I am going to mix in a little bit of baking soda. I'm just mixing that same Popular Gray paint that we did on the base layer, and mixing in some baking soda, not enough to make it super textured, but enough so that it doesn't just look like paint. I want the finish to resemble real ceramic as much as possible. And I did 2 coats total of the baking soda mixture. Once that dries, I'm using this clear matte protective spray to give it a finishing coat. And here's how the vase looks. I hope my mother-in-law loves it. Is it just me, or does McGee & Co. have some of the most stunning art pieces? This particular one is called Monochrome Mountains, and I love that they've paired this kind of warm black and white landscape with this warm chocolate colored frame. This one sells for $515, and I wanted to try to recreate it today with an art hack that I have loved to do for pieces around my home, so I cannot wait to share that with you. I'm starting out with this turquoise textured frame that I thrifted from Goodwill so many years ago. Does anyone remember when Goodwill used different colored markers to write the prices on the items? This was before they actually got sticky tags for their decor. So I believe the price on this one, which is barely readable now, was about $2.12. And it does have a faux wood texture, which I think is perfect for how I want to make it look. I'm using some rubbing alcohol on a paper towel to clean it up and try to get that red marker off, but that doesn't matter too much since I'll be painting it. To achieve that rich, dark chocolatey color of the frame, I'm starting out with a base of black acrylic paint. I got this one from Dollar Tree. For a Dollar Tree paint, this actually has pretty decent coverage and is quite pigmented. Once that dries, I'm going over the top with a brown acrylic paint. You can get this one from Hobby Lobby or any craft store, and the name of this color is Raw Umber. And once that is good and dry, I'm taking it outside and giving it a coat of this clear matte protective spray to seal it all in. If you've seen my past videos where I do an art dupe, you've seen me share this hack before. So you'll go to Google and type in open access art. There will be several options that come up, and these are all for different museums, so they'll have different selections of art. This time I'll be using the Met Museum of Art. Once you're on the website, click Get Started and then scroll down and click this picture of the lady next to the online collection. Then you'll use the search bar and the filtering buttons to narrow down your search to whatever it is you're looking for. I typed in mountains as a keyword and I filtered it by just paintings. You'll probably have to scroll through a couple of pages to find what you're looking for. I came across this landscape with clouds and mountains, and I thought it was a really good lookalike to the McGee & Co. piece, so I'll link this one below for you. Since it is in the public domain, you can go ahead and download it. I'm uploading mine into an 8.5 by 11 Canva document, and I'm going to leave the white border around it so that when I print it, it's going to have that white border. Now I'm just playing with the color filters to get it to a black and white color tone that matches the McGee & Co. one as closely as possible. I ended up liking the Noir filter. And now I'm just downloading it to my computer and I printed it out on my home printer on cardstock paper. I'm using the glass from my picture frame to measure the art and cut it to size. I'm opting not to use the glass in the frame though, because I prefer my art to have a more matte finish. Now I'll just put it all back together, and here's the final look. I have loved this checkered box from Studio McGee for a long time, and it doesn't seem to be available anymore unless you purchase it from an individual seller. So today I'll be using this wooden box that you can just get from the craft store to recreate this checkered box. I'm starting out with some 220 sandpaper and just sanding the entire piece to smooth it out. Oftentimes these wooden boxes from the craft store are not completely smooth and sometimes have splinters or rough spots, so it's very important to do this if you want a clean, polished paint look. I had to move the sanding party outside because it was way too dusty inside. I've never used this label holder on the side and I've had this box for a while, so I'm just going to take it off completely. And then I'm sanding down that area as well. After everything is sanded, I'm giving it a vacuum to remove all that dust. I'm taking this all-purpose wood filler to patch up any holes or imperfections. While we wait on that to dry, I'm going to take this Minwax stain in the color Ebony to stain the inside of the box. Make sure to wear a glove for this part, and I'm using a cheesecloth rag that you can get from anywhere. Mine's from Walmart. I didn't realize this would happen before it was too late, but there is a lot of excess glue around the seams of the box from where it was manufactured, and unfortunately the stain is not taking to those areas. So it doesn't look as nice as I wanted it to, but that's okay because I will probably be the only one to see the inside anyways, and I'll know better next time to look out for that. Overall, I gave it 2 coats of the ebony stain. Once that wood filler dries, I am giving that a light sand so that it's ready for paint. I'm starting off by giving the entire box 2 coats of what I had on hand, which is Popular Gray by Sherwin-Williams. Luckily, this color is really similar to the light color on the Studio McGee box, but for the darker color, I will be using my own custom mixture that I'll show you in just a few minutes. The brush I'm using is from Dollar Tree. You can get a pack of 6 in various sizes for just $1.25. After the paint completely dries, it's time to mark our checkerboard pattern. To mimic the Studio McGee, you'll need 5 squares going long ways and 3 squares going short ways. So just measure the long side of the box and divide it by 5 and make your marks so that you have 5 equal sections. For me, it ended up being 2 rulers wide per square, so I just used the width of my ruler to measure each square. Then measure the short side of your box and divide it by 3 and make your marks so that you have 3 equal squares. And don't forget to continue your lines around the sides of the lid as well. To make it easier on myself, I used the lid to help me make my markings on the bottom part of the box. This definitely saved me some time because I didn't have to remeasure, and I could just use those lines to get the proper markings so they lined up perfectly with each other. And this is how it looks after all the squares are measured out. Now it's time to paint our darker color, so I'm just writing a small X in the squares that will be painted the dark gray. You'll just mark every other square and make sure that no 2 squares next to each other are both marked. To create the darker color, I'm using a base of that same popular gray color, and I'm mixing in a bit of black acrylic paint. To warm it up a bit, I'm adding in some brown acrylic paint. And then a bit of white acrylic paint just to lighten it up. I finally landed on a color that I really loved, so now it's time for the fun part, which is the painting. You can definitely use some blue painter's tape to tape off your lines if you're worried about them being uneven, but if you have a pretty steady hand, you can definitely do this without taping it. I really took my time doing this part because I wanted it to be as even as possible, so if you're a perfectionist like me, I like to just turn on a movie so that I have something to do during projects like these. I did 2 coats of this so that you couldn't see the lighter color through it at all, and I'm really loving how this is looking so far, even though it's not done yet. And after that beautiful checkerboard pattern has dried, I'm taking some clear matte protective spray and giving it a good coat so that it will last for years to come. Here's how it turned out. Let me know in the comments how you liked today's projects. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.